Well, some days it certainly feels like men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
But the simple truth is that many of the disagreements between men and women are simply misunderstandings.
Yes, Dr. Rachel Daigle from Daigle Professional Counseling Services is here to help us avoid some common arguments simply by understanding how we communicate. Good morning.
That lead-in was wonderful. Dr. John Gray, Ellen Hartson, and Dr. Amy Johnson is really where a lot of this information is coming from. They just said it so succinctly, and so I felt it was a great topic of discussion.
It is.
Today.
I love Dr. Gray, too.
Yes. Yes.
So we've got so many. What's the first one?
Well, the first one, we're going to jump right in. Yeah. Right before we do, I just want to preface this with, we're talking about some general communication habits, gender roles, the way societally we have been conditioned. So there are different types of relationships, there are multiple styles of communication. We're just going with some very common ones that people run into.
Yeah, it doesn't always apply to everyone.
No, it doesn't. However, men ask, women hint, okay? This has to do with that idea that men have been socialized to be more direct, while women are talking, they've been taught to prioritize others' needs before their own. So then this takes on a less direct type of communication.
That's so true too, because don't you think I just assume my husband knows what I'm talking about because we're on the same wavelength.
Yes, he should
really we're not.
Intuitively know what I'm thinking, and that's absolutely error in a way, because he can't know. He can guess, but if we learn to ease more into being a little bit more assertive, then our partner isn't sitting there trying to guess where we're at with things, and we're coming off with some other type of random something.
What's that about? Is that because women just sort of appreciate the hinting? Like when y'all talk together, do you hint to each other as well, or?
Sometimes good friends, they take the words out of my mouth before I even say them.
Yes.
They finish my sentences sometimes.
Go ahead.
Go, no, you.
I was going to say, I think the commonality is the shared perspective of like the big picture. Women tend to work with connections, and they come from that point of perspective, whereas men come from a very distinctly different perspective. Okay, so that, and you're right. A lot of times when you're on the same wavelength, you can very much be just intuitively saying what's coming next to your best girlfriend because you know her so well.
Yes.
And the style of communication is intimately known to you.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
So just sort of a natural phenomenon for you guys, rather than saying, okay, I know I'm talking to a guy here. Well, I need to be more direct. It just doesn't register, or?
I think sometimes we're unfamiliar with the perspective. Down the way we talk a little bit about, and we might as well use it right here, men compartmentalize, women think big picture, so we don't think in the same way. That's inherently what's at the crux of being able to sit down with a bunch of women and be able to pick up on things very quickly versus a man where, hey, that's not my natural tendency.
Would I be better off to start hinting towards my wife more often? Would that be a better form of communication for me?
You could do that.
Give it a try, Chris.
I think I might.
We'll see.
I'm hungry.
Assertive communication is much more beneficial. It really will. You know.
Yeah. Okay, so what's another one?
Another one, for women, it's in the details. She might say, do you remember the flowers you brought me on our second date and the dress I wore? And he's hearing, well, if I cared, then I would know those things. But it's a simple processing type of information. Like, he doesn't necessarily process information that way. We're good at details, and we're more sentimental and things like that.
See, I'll disagree here, because when I talk to my girlfriends and I start talking about movies, I'm like, oh, remember when the guy said this line?
Yes.
Y'all don't remember lines from movies like guys do.
Yeah, sometimes.
Why is that?
I don't know.
It's about what is most significant to us in the detail.
Caddyshack's pretty significant.
See? And that's why it would stick.
Blank.
So yes.
Yeah. It's
And
not a
again,
movie, but...
generalities.
Yeah.
It's what's most applicable and what's most helpful to you. Does that make sense? If he doesn't remember these particular little details, it's not because he doesn't care. It's the way he's taking. You remember what the specific things that are very important to you. It's not that you don't love and care about your wife. It's just that particular scene in Caddyshack pops for you. That's it. That's it.
More miscommunication when we come back with Dr. Rachel Daigle.